let's talk about escalation clauses. They're helpful to understand if you're a seller, a buyer, and if you're an agent who's never used one before, make sure you pay attention. An escalation clause is only used when we're competing on a house that has multiple offers. When we do an escalation clause, we always say, here's where we'd like to start. Let's say we'd like to go $2,000 over asking. I always suggest starting at least a little over. And we would be willing to pay all the way up to $20,000 over asking. And we'll go in an increment of $1,000 over the highest offer up to the $20,000 over asking. The most important part in an escalation clause is for the buyer to do some soul searching and some research. Talk to your lender, talk to your agent, find out what they think the house might go for, what might win, and then what actually works for you. What the payment would be if you go $5,000 over, if you go $10,000 over, if you go $20,000 over. So it's not a surprise to you, and whether or not those are an amount that you're comfortable with, because you always want to be comfortable. We don't want buyer's remorse, and we don't want to harm the seller by taking the house off the market and then changing our mind. So take that time, find out what your payments would be, find out what other houses in the market in that area might have gone for, and what the typical escalation looks like and where people actually get escalated to. There's a lot of other ways to get creative with your offers and especially with your escalation clause, but I don't want to get into all of that right now. Right now, I just want to give the very basic of if you want to do an escalation clause, you're going to set an amount you want to pay, an amount you're willing to pay, and a set amount that you will escalate in between over the highest offer. Always be aware when you're writing an escalation that you should plan to pay the highest amount just so that you're comfortable and you feel good if it comes in under. When setting that highest amount, I typically recommend to my clients, think about if that house sold for $20,000 over, are you going to say, dodged a bullet, I was not willing to pay that? Or are you going to feel like, oh, I wish I just would have gone 21 over because then I would have got it? That's what you need to do when you're deciding what your escalation amount is. It's important to know that your agent and your lender can always give you the tools to know what you can do, but that doesn't matter. It's what you want to do, what you're comfortable with. Your agent should always be on your side to fight as hard for you as they can, but to also know when it's not what you want. So know what you want, find what you want, and use your team to your advantage. Make sure your team is reaching out to the listing side so that they're communicating, because some listing agents don't like escalation clauses, and you don't want to send an escalation clause to an agent that doesn't like one. Same with sellers. You always want to make sure whatever offer you're sending is what they would want and what they would consider. So I hope that's helpful. If you have more questions about escalation clauses, shoot me a message. I can do a longer video or hopefully a shorter one. I'm not very good at short videos. I keep trying. And if you want, I will include a link to my website where there is a blog post about escalation clauses explaining in depth what they are and how to use them. So have a great day. And as always, I'm here to help.